both of you are kind of new to the franchise. I know, Zoe, there was a flashback with you in the previous movie. I wanted to know what excited you about this opportunity to be in this world of J.K. Rowling.
Where to begin?
Gosh. I mean, everyone... Oh no, you can only speak for yourself. I had a relationship with this world because of my children growing up and me as a father reading to them and sharing the films with them, and so I was excited because I find the world exciting. I think J.K. Rowling has an incredible impact as a writer because she's created a world of escapism, but also a world that enables people to feels relevant. Feels reflective of themselves, you know, not fitting in, love failed, feeling inadequate, all these things that people struggle with, whether they're children or adults. And then obviously for me, the opportunity to play a character who's already been defined as an older man, a much older man, and go back and like layer in some of all the details that make him who he is.
Zoe, now with you, what was it about this opportunity for you that excited you?
I mean, J.K. Rowling is a living icon. She really is. And when you become a part of this world, you become a part of history. And I think the Harry Potter books were the first books I read as a kid that weren't being forced on me. You know, this world really activated my imagination. So to be a part of something that I grew up, that inspired me as a kid, and also, you know, understanding how much this world means to so many people, you know, and just being able to be a part of such a beautiful piece of art is amazing.
Yeah, I mean, the cultural footprint that J.K. Rowling is leaving behind is second to none, right? I echo both what they're saying, but also to join a cast and crew of people and to work with them, everyone's at the top of their game, you know, which is inspiring and makes you raise your game.
And she writes such delicious characters. I mean, they're just so...
human characters in such a grand
beautiful
world.
Yeah.
And yet everyone has texture, like there's no, oh, you're the good guy, you're just a really good, normal person. Everyone's got layers and complexities.
Actor's delight.
Exactly.
I couldn't agree with you more. So let's go and talk a little bit about each one of your characters. You're playing an iconic character, but it's way back in the years. But we see also his layers. We see he's complex, right? Who is Albus, or this Albus Dumbledore that we're going to see in this film?
Well, he's a man who is trying to right a wrong that happened to him in his formative years, in his early 20s, late teens. He's kind of cocooned himself up at Hogwarts as a professor, but also someone who is devoted to and really loves his role as a tutor, as a mentor, but in a way has sort of isolated himself, not involved himself in the ministry, in the sort of politics of the wizarding world, and also not really gotten himself involved in the hand-to-hand battle with the sort of rise of evil. And he's kind of hit a crunch point. And a lot of that comes back to a very formative relationship with this one particular wizard and Grindelwald. And so we're seeing someone try to deal with the demons of the past. And he still approaches it with a bit of swagger and a bit of twinkle and a bit of humor, a bit of anarchy. You know, nothing is insurmountable as long as you've got a cup of tea on hand and you know what I mean, the opportunity for a good chat. I always think Albus will sit down and go, anyway, it's all right. Cup of tea, it's a good chat, everything will be all right.
And then Leta Lestrange, complex, mysterious. We're not really sure with her. How do you see her?
Yeah, I mean, the thing about Leta, which you brought up earlier, which is such a great point, is, you know, her name carries a lot of weight, her last name, and being a pureblood. And it's very complex for her because her father, who gave her that name, dismissed her, and I think he's the reason, one of the many reasons that she thinks she doesn't deserve love. I think she has a lot of issues with self-worth, and she's always been told what she is because of her name and being a pureblood, and I don't think she quite knows her place in the world, which is why I think her and Newt had such a connection when they were both students at Hogwarts. And now we meet her in this place where her past is really catching up with her. Her demons are really coming alive and everything's kind of bubbling to the surface. And we learn why she does have this heavy, heavy energy about her.
And in the mix there is Callum, also an interesting relationship with Newt, you're his brother. You're about to marry someone he was in love with. This is complicated.
It is complicated, but I think the important thing is to realize that it wasn't a full relationship, right? It was a companionship at school, and I think he's of the understanding that that it wasn't as severe as it's being made out now, and he provides something for her that Newt doesn't, with their similarities. Newt and Lita, Theseus is the complete opposite to both of them, and provides a stability and an acceptance and a love and a support that is needed in a relationship, and they both give it to each other. And he's he's risen to the top of the ranks at the ministry. He's the head aura, and is fighting the good fight in the way that he knows how. He's incredibly stubborn and wants his brother, who he understands to be a more powerful special wizard, to join the fight on his side through the establishment, which obviously Newt is repelled by. And I think that's the journey that he goes on. Maybe he's making mistakes or has made mistakes.
Mm.
And how would you explain Albus's relationship with Newt? Because he, at the end of the day, is the one who launches on this quest, right?
Yeah. I mean, and let's not forget, it's a very dangerous quest. I mean, there are certain manipulations to Dumbledore, and there always were. You go back, you go forward to what he puts Harry through in many ways. It's not. He doesn't ask people to pop down the shops and pick up some eggs.
Yeah.
He sends them on seriously
He probably
dangerous
does that
missions.
as well.
He probably does that too.
But he also
Lazy soul.
he asks Newt to do it as if it was. It is as if it was
As if it
going.
was.
Yeah,
As if it
going
was
down to the.
that.
Yeah,
Totally.
exactly.
Just pop over there and
That's
sort
the
this
Yeah,
out.
just
mastery
fix,
of him, though, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
But he is, I think, very, very fond of Newt because he knows this guy has a barometer of high morals, that he can rely on this man who has some very specific and special skills, but who is driven ultimately by doing good. And I think he trusts him because he's a guy that finds beauty in beasts and beauty in animals. And I think there's a part of Dumbledore at this stage in his life who feels like he's a beast because he's made bad mistakes, and he knows that Newt doesn't judge him.
I wanted to ask you about what Eddie brought to Newt,
Yeah.
and also what Johnny brought to Grindelwald.
Sure.
Let's start
Me?
with you, yes. But it's a question for the
I
three of you.
mean, Eddie's work across all his films is really extraordinary to watch, and getting to know him, I've known him many, many years, but never worked with him. His commitment, his attention to detail, and his physical work. He's one of our great physical actors.
Yep.
I think he's the best.
I mean, obviously, specifically
too,
this
Johnny.
actually Johnny too.
They both have that
in
quality.
such different ways,
Yeah.
but they physicalize, like from the feet
A
up, from the
character.
toes up.
They show you who somebody is with the way they move.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
And they're always different. Clearly different.
Very specific.
But little details like just the way Eddie uses his wand is like completely raised the bar. I know it sounds like a funny thing, but honestly, it's a kind of piece of beautiful mime work. The idea of doing this isn't enough, that you put it in his teeth or listen to it or smell it or, everything, all of that stuff suddenly makes us think, oh, that's possible. Oh, yeah. And that all comes from him as a performer. Just quickly, I'm going to say about Johnny too. I mean, obviously, I look forward to working with him in later sagas, but I think what he brings to this is, what's key about Grindelwald is how attractive he is.
Yep,
and obviously,
exactly.
Johnny Depp is a hugely attractive man, but he brings in the performance he always terrifying you, but still terribly attractive.
But
And
somehow, what he's saying, even though it's evil,
You
is
get
seductive. You're like,
seductive by
yeah, you're kind of
seductive.
like,
He's making
okay,
a
you got
good
a point,
point, yeah.
and that's what makes him so dangerous.